Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
A special thank you to Angry Arbel Zafiri for being an awesome pledgehammer on Patreon. It's time to eat ass and take names. No, wait, that can't be right. It's time to take ass and kick names. Damn it. Right, third time lucky. It's time to kick ass and take names. Yep, that one's right. Because this weekend, it's WWE Stomping Grounds, and boy howdy, what an unimportant show this is shaping up to be. A good chunk of the card is rematches from the past few pay-per-views, with 2 being rematches from Super Showdown, 1 being a rematch from Money in the Bank, and 1 being a rematch from WrestleMania. But don't let WWE hear you say that, because automatic rematches have been scrapped, remember? Despite all of this, there are still plenty of rumors to fill our pockets with, so join me, Chopper Pete Quinnell, as we prepare to name ass and take kicks. Before we get into it though, have yourself a super click party by pressing the thumbs up, subscribe and bell icons to enable notifications, and leave us a comment answering the question of the day, which today is, which match are you most excited for at WWE Stomping Grounds? Time to kick ass and take names. With that said, here are all the rumors and reports that you need to know about WWE Stomping Grounds. Time to kick ass and take names. Brock Lesnar will try to cash in. Again, Brock Lesnar's current Money in the Bank cash-in completion rate is 0. He keeps trying, but that pesky Seth Rollins keeps wriggling his way out of all situations using his wet hair and a steel chair. That rhymed. While it now looks likely that Brock will wait to cash in at SummerSlam or another of the big 4 pay-per-views, there's still every chance that WWE could just jump the gun and have him cash in much sooner. With Vince doing everything he possibly can to pop a rating, why not tease once again that Brock might cash in at Stomping Grounds? Time to kick ass and take names. They could call it something awful like Beast Grounds or It's Time to Beast Ass and Take Names to get the idea over. Whether he actually manages to cash in is another question. The story they seem to be telling is that Brock lays perfect plans and then something minor goes wrong to disrupt him, the latest of which was Paul Heyman falling over, proving once again how imaginative WWE's writing department has become. Maybe there's still some of Brock's sweat in the canvas from Super Showdown they can still use as a prop for him to slip on this time. Bray Wyatt will debut. Again, it's all about the cheap pop and some extra ratings points. Bray Wyatt's back must be more sore than ever after continuously carrying Raw since he debuted his Firefly Funhouse segment, but it'll be more interesting to see how many more weeks the segment has left. You would assume that he will finally debut in the ring at a pay-per-view show, but after Stomping Grounds, Time to Kick Ass and Take Names next weekend, there's another month until Extreme Rules, which would mean at least 4 more episodes of Firefly Funhouse. While Stomping Grounds is a great place to name kicks and take ass, it would be a very anticlimactic way of bringing Bray back, which is exactly why it will probably be what Vince does. Bray is about as far removed from your classic Vince McMahon wrestler as you're likely to find, with his good promos and interesting character. And no, it wouldn't be at all surprising if Vince simply says, this has run its course, let's just have him feud with Mojo Rawley. He has face mates, so they're practically the same person. Becky Lynch will retain. Since losing one of her 2 belts at Money in the Bank, Becky Lynch has been losing everything that made her so great at the tail end of last year and the beginning of 2019. She now has no serious threats to her championships, a feud that no one cares about, and her time on TV has seemingly been halved every week that goes by. That being said, she is still very much the favorite to walk out of Stomping Grounds, Time to Kick Ass and Take Names, as the Raw Women's Champion, after she's taken Lacey Evans' name and ass. No, wait, this will start some weird fanfic thing. Basically, Becky is a huge favorite to retain against Lacey Evans, which is good because we really don't need to see Lacey Evans, a woman whose finisher is a punch, as the top female star in the company. It really feels about time that the women's belts were unified given the lack of serious competition across the divisions, but for now at least it looks like we're trundling on with Becky as the Raw Champion, and Bayley will retain. Bayley will carry on being the SmackDown Live Women's Champion too. This one is pretty obvious given that Alexa Bliss isn't even a SmackDown superstar. Bayley is the huge favorite to retain over Alexa, and will then hopefully move on to feuds with people on her own brand. Having said that, immediately after the brand split when Becky Lynch was SmackDown Women's Champion and faced Alexa Bliss in a tables match and no one expected her to win, she did. While it's great to see Alexa fit and healthy and back in the ring, being shoved straight back into the title picture has felt rather forced, particularly when there's plenty of talent on SmackDown that isn't being used right now for anything. Ember Moon, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Lana, maybe not Lana. All of these people are on SmackDown Live, and if you'd started watching the show a few weeks ago, you wouldn't even know they existed, because they've either not been on TV at all, or they've been in a couple of awful backstage segments, screaming and throwing a bin around instead of getting physical. Not naming names here, Ember Moon. Hopefully these reports are true, and Bayley can move on from Asuka and onto a feud with someone on her own brand. But who cares about what brand anyone is on anymore, because wildcard! Seth Rollins will beat Baron Corbin. Again. The distinctly mediocre match they had at Super Showdown clearly wasn't enough for Vince McMahon, because he wants to see Baron Corbin main event yet another pay-per-view show. This one's for you, Ollie. Seth, much like his girlfriend Becky Lynch, has lost lots of his momentum since WrestleMania, largely due to lackluster feuds with a plethora of uninteresting opponents. Baron Corbin, while a perfectly good heel when he's not being overexposed, is the epitome of this string of dull Seth Rollins feuds. But thankfully it does at least look like this one is coming to an end with Seth on top. Seth is heavy favorite with all betting sites to win the match, a fact that will allow many wrestling fans to rest easy at night. The idea of Baron Corbin as Universal Champion is the stuff of nightmares, but thankfully for the time being, it at least looks like that isn't the plan. Shane McMahon will interfere in the WWE Championship match, because we can never have enough of Shane McMahon. After all, he is the best in the world! WrestleVotes are reporting that one of their sources has suggested that the end goal for the current Shane storyline is for him to defeat Kofi Kingston and win the WWE Championship. While this in itself is a revolting idea, it begs the question how we would even get to a point where Shane is feuding with Kofi. Well, why not have him try and interfere in the cage match between Kofi and Dolph to build tension between the two parties? Perhaps Shane could use his sweaty body to squeeze between two cage panels and try and help Ziggler win. It seems that WWE is keen on trying to get Shane involved in every segment on both Raw and SmackDown anyway, so they may as well do the same on every pay-per-view too. Here's a fun fact: Stomping Grounds, time to kick ass and take names, is the only pay-per-view show this year that Shane McMahon is not scheduled to wrestle on. Kofi Kingston will retain. Despite all of the previously mentioned speculation, it is still very much expected that Kofi will defeat Ziggler inside the steel cage. You can expect there to be plenty of outside interference from Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and the aforementioned Shane McMahon, which will inevitably bring down the New Day to even the odds. The last person in the world that needs the WWE Championship is Dolph Ziggler, and the bookies seem to agree, giving Kofi very good odds to retain. Fun fact, Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston is the most wrestled TV singles match in WWE history, with this being the 28th encounter between the two. I know what you're thinking, surely we can get to 50 before this feud is over, but if Kofi is going to retain, then you would assume it's curtains for Dolph, and perhaps he can resume his comedy tour that he had to stop in order to return to WWE for this pointless feud. There will be a Cruiserweight Championship triple threat match. On this week's episode of 205 Live, there was a #1 contenders match for Tony Nese's Cruiserweight Championship with Akira Tozawa, Drew Gulak, Oni Lorcan, and Humberto Carrillo competing in a fatal four-way. In an interesting turn of events, both Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak got a pinfall at exactly the same time, which you would assume means that we'll be having a triple threat match at Stomping Grounds, time to kick ass and take names, for the title. It was an excellent match, by the way, so do go and watch it if you have time to give those hard-working lads on 205 Live a bit of airtime. Nese has held the belt since WrestleMania when he defeated Buddy Murphy, and has since defended against Arya Daivari at Money in the Bank. Given that 205 Live has a roster of 11, or 12 if you count Chad Gable, more than a quarter of the entire roster is in this match. That really tells you all you need to know about how much WWE values this division. No titles will change hands. As is often the case with a B-show pay-per-view, you'll be lucky to get much more than a mid-card title change. And as neither of the Intercontinental or US title is apparently going to be defended on this show, watch them announce something 5 minutes after this video goes live, you probably won't even get that on Stomping Grounds time to kick ass and take names. Every champion in every currently announced match is the favorite to retain their belts, which begs the question, what's the point point of the show. It's less than a month to Extreme Rules anyway, so why not use this time to build some characters and feuds for a longer period of time so that fans are actually invested. As I said on the Wrestle Ramble earlier this week, there are lots of feuds on this card, but there are no storylines. Everyone is fighting for the sake of fighting, and not because they've built up a rivalry or one has particularly wronged the other. Make me want to see one person win. Make me care, WWE. Make me want to see people kick ass and take names. So those were just some rumors about Stomping Grounds time to kick ass and take names. If you want the cold hard facts, click the video to my right to be taken to the news and more awesome WrestleTalk and Screen Stalker things. Have a super click party by pressing the thumbs up, subscribe and bell icons, and leave us a comment answering the question of the day. I've been Chopper Pete Quinnell, and that was wrestling.